Hi there guys, today we're talking the truly American classic, the pecan pie. Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any videos in the future. But today we're talking pecan pie. It's a truly American classic. Pour into a bowl 200 grams of flour, followed by 113 grams of cold butter, and 25 grams of sugar, always a good pinch of salt, and start crumbling that through your fingers. We're going to do this short crust pastry by hand today, just to show you that it's possible. So keep crumbling it through your fingers, getting all that butter nice and distributed throughout the flour mixture. Then you want to add a couple of dashes of ice cold water. Make sure it's ice cold because you want to keep this mixture fairly cold, so don't be touching it too much with your hands. I know that doesn't quite make sense because you need your hands to mix it and you don't want to be touching it too much with your hands, but you know what I mean. Try and keep this mixture cold. So overall I added about 3 tablespoons of cold water until it started to look like this. Then I poured it out onto the work surface, just give it a quick knead literally for 30 seconds, then wrapped it in plastic, stuck it in the fridge to rest and chill again for another 30 minutes. So while that's chilling in the fridge, we're going to make our sweetness. So into a pan, pour 240 grams of corn syrup, then 60 milliliters or grams of maple syrup. Real maple syrup, you know, it's got to be real. Then 60 grams of dark brown sugar. With this recipe, the darker the better. And then throw in 60 grams of butter, a little dash of vanilla, and we're going to take that over to the hob to warm through slowly, while, as we've learned from our mistakes in the past, we're going to flour our work surface and our rolling pin. Yeah, that's right, give it a good roll around in all that white powder. And then we're going to empty out our now cold pastry onto the flour, just give it a light dusting as well, and then start batting it over the head, on each side, just to start flattening it out, before getting stuck in there with the rolling pin and making it into a nice big circle. Don't worry if it's not perfect, we're going to trim around the ends anyway, but you want to get it to about half a centimetre thick. And then again, roll it back over the rolling pin, slide your dish magically in front of yourself, and lay the pastry very gently over the thing and let it sink into the dish. You can gently prise it into the corners and push it a little bit, but don't give it too much force, you don't want it to tear, it's very delicate. And then we're just going to give it a rough haircut. We want this pie to scream rustic and homemade, because that's what pecan pie is all about. So don't be going too neat with it. I just went around the edges and folded it under a little bit, just give it a little bit of a lip, and then a little bit of a nip, just to give it some sort of pattern, but you know, nothing too fancy. And then, as always, to stop it bubbling up in the oven, we're going to give it a good porking. Make sure you get a nice amount of holes in the bottom of your pastry, and we're going to blind bake this. So again, lay in some parchment paper, pour in something heavy. Here I use some beans, and then bake it in the oven at 180 for 10 minutes. And while it's in the oven, we're just going to go through our pecans, and for some reason I'm holding them up to the camera as if you don't know what they are. Come on Chris, they know what pecans are. But we're just going to go through them and make sure there's no shells, because sometimes it can be left with shells and they're really hard. So then after 10 minutes, out comes your pastry, and then we're going to remove the weight in the middle and cook it at 180 for another 5 minutes. And then after them 5 minutes, we're ready to fill. So get your 2 cups of pecans, or roughly 250 grams, and pour in half straight into the dish. Give them a little spread around, and then just move it to the... oh no, it's hot. Well, that was a little bit embarrassing. Swiftly moving on. Now that our mixture's nice and melted, we're going to crack in 3 whole eggs, one at a time, to make sure the mixture doesn't split and incorporate the eggs perfectly. You don't want to do this when it's too hot either. You don't want to be cooking the eggs to make it into scrambled egg. So after your 3 eggs, don't forget to throw in 1 extra yolk and plop! Give that another whisk together and then pour it over your nuts, the ones in the pastry case. And then with the other half of the nuts, we're going to very nicely arrange them all the way around the top, making sure they're all facing the same way in a big spiral. I know it looks like I did this really fast, but I did take my time. Make sure you do too. You'll make it nice and pretty. And then very carefully lift it up and stick it in the oven at 180 degrees for about 45 minutes, or until you see it look something like this. It's going to balloon up so much with them eggs, and then just leave it for a bit at least. And there you can see it's sunk all the way back down again, and just very carefully try and flip it over and try and get it out, and hello, come on. Oh, there we go, we got it. Lay it on your choice of serving plate, give it a little admire before slicing into it, get it on a plate, top it with a beautiful quenelle of some vanilla whipped cream, and there you go. Incredible. There's the Instagram pic right there. And it's actually so easy to make. Bite ourselves off a little bit, and there is a lot of fork wagging going on there. Oh, that must have been good. But guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and just keep cooking. You are coming with me.